Hey everybody on YouTube, this is my first video. I apologize for the quality. It's probably I won't know until I start actually putting these up there to know whether they're good or not. I'm using an iPhone to do this video recording. Unfortunately, the video camera that I used to have is dead, and I got to replace it. And of course, after spending all this money on beer equipment for a birthday present, it'll probably be a little while before I'm allowed to go out and spend anything else, except for the the ingredients for making the beer. So anyways, I figured I'd start my first video showing all my equipment. I have yet to use any of it other than doing some dry runs, do some testing to see how things work and make sure everything works. But I figured it would be a good idea to kind of do a first video just by showing the stuff that I've collected and my reasoning for why I bought what I did aside from the standard stuff. So as you can see here, I got a better bottle. It's 6.5 gallon better bottle. My original intent for this, because as you probably saw right down here, is I have 6.5 gallon fermenting buckets. That was going to be my secondary fermenter. Well, I did some searching online and found out that when you do your secondary, because I plan on doing secondaries for just about every single beer, I like the clarifying effect that I've seen from the videos online. That you need to have a vessel that's at least the same size for secondary fermentation as the batch itself. You want to minimize the amount of oxygen that is the wort's exposed to. So so now I'm going to end up having three primaries, two of the plastic buckets, and this better bottle. I'm in the process of looking on Craigslist and or buying two smaller better bottles for 5-gallon carboys or about a better bottle. I can get carboys for like $25 a piece, 5 gallons locally here in the Chicago area, or I can spend $28 for a better bottle, plus tax, unless I buy it online, which is shipping. So I got to decide that. Anyways, so as you can see here, you see a bunch of tubes. I'll kind of go down the aisle here a little bit and kind of show what I got and the reasoning for everything. This was a blow-off tube. It's an inch by 3 foot blow-off tube. These do not work with better bottles. Found that out by sticking it in the hole and realized that the better bottles actually have pretty big holes. Next, I have a auto siphon. I decided to go with the 1/2 inch auto siphon, and the reason for that was obviously it siphons faster. I like the auto siphon effect as opposed to having to do a racking cane with a regular suction. I know I'll screw that up, so it made sense not to use it. I got a beer thief. I saw a few people using these. I like the option of sticking this into the carboy or into a bucket and getting it that way instead of having to scoop it in with a sterilized measuring cup or something like that. It just seems like a little less contact with the wort. Here's my hydrometer. Got a standard hydrometer, color. I don't know if that was necessity, but I bought it, whatever. I got the test jar. Now, of course, I can use the test jar, or I can use the beer thief. I've seen both ways done, and I figured I might as well try both because I don't know which one's more comfortable. The other day, I went to one of the local beer home brewing stores, and someone told me about using these grain bags, the nylon straining bags, to put it at the end of the auto siphon and rubber band it. To help keep any particulars from getting into the siphoning. So even though I'll be straining and stuff like that, they recommended using this at the bottom of that, affixed to it somehow, to help, for straining if you're going to do dry hopping. And I actually, after doing reading, have intended to do some dry hopping, especially on IPAs, just because I love IPAs. Next to this, you'll see I have a fish aquarium pump. I decided to do this. I'm lazy. Not that I can't pick up 6 gallons of wort and shake the heck out of it. I just figured this way I could do other stuff while it's aerating. So I got the 10-gallon aquarium pump. I bought tubing, 1/4-inch tubing. I actually bought this adapter from Home Depot. It's basically just a 1/4-inch to a 1/8 of an inch adapter. One's male, one's female, screwed it together. So I have two different sizes of tubing. And there's the I guess they call it a HEPA filter. I'm not sure, air filter that filters, make sure that it's clean oxygen that's getting put into the wort. Pan up over here a little bit. Just some stainless steel measuring cups. I probably didn't need to do that necessarily, but hey, I like the way stainless steel looks. It's easy to clean and, whatever. Pair of scissors. I decided, I got a ton of scissors in the house, but this way they're only used for brewing. I don't have to worry about scrubbing the crud out of them and worrying about some kid. So I have kids in the house, or my wife deciding to utilize them to cut something that tarnishes them or whatever. Who knows? I just felt, keeping it sanitary, that way I'm good. Now this is a flower box. I actually saw this online, and I'm going to have to plug some of these guys. I obviously don't remember their names at the top of my head. But I like this idea because obviously you can fit a racking cane and a bunch of long utensils in here. Like here's my spoon, it fits in there, so I could put the Star San or iodophore or whatever into that. I'm going to also have probably a bucket, the standard size 5-gallon bucket that I'll put some in. But I like that. It's short, it's long at the same time, so I don't have to worry about moving. I can dip it in there and the entire thing is sanitized at one time. That's awesome. For a measuring cup, for measuring gallons, I actually decided to buy one of these Kool-Aid jugs. It's 4 liters, it has a 4-liter mark. You can't see it because it's well, maybe you can a little bit. 4 liters and 1 gallon, which is great because that way, sometimes off the top of your head, it's hard for you to remember. Maybe after a while doing this, I'll remember how many gallons or how many liters are in a gallon. That made it easier for me. As I pan down here, you can see kind of a combination of cleaning materials and a strainer. I got the strainer just because, even though I'll show you in a second, I got a strainer, a bazooka tube in my boiling pot. This is in case, I have to drain stuff and I still can't get all the stuff out of it. Bazooka tube sits so much further, or sits about a half-inch above the bottom of the pot, so there's going to be a point where I have to pour something out, and that's good to have. I bought both Star San and iodophore. Not sure which one I'll be more accustomed to. I'm going to use them both. I've seen people use both, and I know one's cheaper than the other one. Iodophore stains the crud out of everything. Star San, is no rinse, and I guess iodophore is too, but price difference. Got the one-step no rinse cleanser. That's just to keep this stuff clean. I want everything separate from even normal household stuff, so I don't have to worry about running out or having the wrong thing on hand at the wrong time. If I have to use one of the dish soaps and realize that I got a nice residue on there, it's going to suck. Standard 3-part airlock, 3-piece airlock with a bung for the actual the better bottle. This is for the better bottle. This is going to be for my 5-gallon. I'm going to get a couple more of these, but for my 5-gallon secondaries. And I actually, if you can see down there, I kind of like that. It's indented, and I talked to a person about that, and they said, well, it's because you don't have to worry about it falling in there if you push too hard. It's got a lip, so it sticks. You saw the 2 brewing buckets. Now I got ones with spigots on there, and that's just, I'm going to try something. I'm thinking about trying to do some sampling with it closed, popping off the airlock, sticking on an air filter so that it does let some oxygen in there, but it's filtered oxygen very little, and sampling without having to pop the entire top bucket of the lid off. I'm going to try that and see how that works. Wort chiller, it's 3/8 inch. Wort chiller. It has the hose adapters on there, so I can use it both inside and outside. Dual purpose. This, I guess, what you could call my heating station. I built one of these. This is actually a heat stick, and the reason for that is I did a test with my 10-gallon pot with 6 gallons of water, and even though I got it above 200 degrees, I could never get it to do a rolling boil and or crest over the 212 boiling point. With a single burner, I have gas, and that heat stick, I was able to get water to boil at 212, rolling boil at 212 within a matter of between 40 and 45 minutes. Let's leave it at that. And this is 125 volt, 20 amp, 2,000 watt element. That's the highest you can get with a 20 amp, 120 volt circuit, which is what it's in my kitchen. I got a couple brewing belts. Don't even know if I need those. My basement stays pretty. It stays around 60. I've been monitoring with a wireless remote thermometer, and it stays about 66 degrees down there. Here it is October, so I don't know if I'll necessarily need that. I don't think it'll dip down too much below that. but that's in case it does. And eventually I'll build a fermentation chamber, so maybe I don't even need those at all, but who knows, they weren't that expensive. I'm going to go over, bypass that real quick and go over to my pot. Um, I bought a pot on eBay, of all places. It's a Winco stainless steel 18.8 10-gallon pot, 3-ply at the bottom. I actually did the modifications myself. Pretty easy to do. I was a little freaked out about it, but you know what? After seeing how much it costs to get one with this stuff already on it and buying it myself and doing it myself, way cheaper. It's got the thermometer, and it's got everything's stainless steel ball valve, and the 1/2-inch nipple so that I can do draining without having to lift up a 10, or 6 gallons of hot water, actually boil down to 5 gallons, still heavy. There's the bazooka tube that I was mentioning. That's for filtering hops and all the particulars out of there. And again, that's why I got the secondary strainer for that reason. So if I can't get it all out, I can pour it through the strainer and still be filtered. And I specifically bought the 1/2-inch silicone tube for this. It's 5 feet, I think, 5 feet. It slips on so much nicer than the vinyl stuff. It's flexible as heck, handles hotter liquids. Even though this will be cooled down to between 60 and 70 degrees, I still wanted the ability to, if I had to do any kind of sparging in the future or whatever, I just like the tubes. It's flexible and makes it work a lot better. And then on to the last thing I'll show before I start getting into the brewing videos, hopefully, is just some accessories that I thought were important. I have watched plenty of videos lately about doing yeast starters, and I'm definitely in reading books about doing yeast starters. And no matter what, I see the benefit of it. If you bake, bread or whatever, they do the same thing. You don't just pitch the yeast in there and go. You actually, basically get it, activated before you do that. Makes perfect sense. So I'm going to do the same thing. Now, I took a 1/2-gallon, beer jug that I got from one of the local breweries here. And I'm going to obviously convert that into a yeast starter. The bung, as you can see, fits perfectly on top, airlock and everything. It's dark color, so I don't have to worry about the light. Of course, this will be fermenting in the basement, but not a big deal. But hey, I'm repurposing a bottle that I bought a long time ago, so I don't have to spend any more money on it. And that's what you see here is some extra light extract for creating the starter, basically the mini batch of beer that's going to be utilized for creating that starter. The yeast nutrient, now I don't know if this is used during using the starter, or if it's used when I'm actually doing the wort. I'm still trying to figure that out, if it's even a necessity for a starter. I do know that before pitching the yeast into a beer, they recommend the beer nutrient. And I'm going to do that. I see I'm aerating, and I'm going to do this as well. But I've seen and read the benefits of this, so I'm going to do that. This isn't for the starter. This is again for the wort itself. Just some other add-ons here. This is for the ferment cap for keeping the foam down. And of course, I got plenty. Actually, I bought a lot of this. This is only one bottle. I think I have 6 of these bottles. Irish moss. I couldn't turn it down buying a bunch at one time. I figured this way I have it on hand at all times. And this is probably crazy, but I went ahead and bought a ton of corn sugar. I know most of the kits come with it, but this way I don't have to worry about it in case. And if I ever decide not to go with a kit and put my own kit together, to see if it's cheaper, buy pieces here and there, or buy something locally that doesn't come with it, the priming sugar is already there. So as you can see, this is my supplies. This hopefully was helpful. Kind of gives you an idea of the things that you need. There's a few extra things I don't have yet. One of the things you might notice is I don't have a bottling bucket or the bottle cap, stuff like that. I figured I'd wait until I got it into the secondary before I bought that stuff. I'll obviously have it after that forever, but I figured I don't need it right away. This is all brand new stuff. I'm buying it and I'm getting ready to brew for the first time in the next week or two. So, but that's it. I look forward to putting some more videos up here, and hopefully this wasn't crappy and boring, and you keep watching. Thanks for watching.